It's Arroyo Seco Saints baseball back here in Jackie Robinson Field after the 2021 CCL Showcase game festivities are done. It's time to take care of the business. Good evening, everybody. This is Alex Naveja as the Arroyo Seco Saints hosting the Conejo Oaks back to action. And from here on out, for the next 2 weeks, we should be expecting nothing but playoff push and for the Saints to hang on to that first place spot of the SoCal division as we bring you the starting defense or starting lineups for the visiting Conejo Oaks. TJ Foreman leading things off. Zach Gregory, who is a part of the 2021 Showcase game last night. Grant Smith, also another name last night. Brendan Bobo hitting cleanup, also a part of the Showcase game. Brendan Durfee hitting 5th. JT Naviak hitting 6th. Greg Melhoff hitting 7th. Caden Suji hitting 8th. And batting 9th is Raul Sandoval. Now let's bring you the starting defense for your Arroyo Seco Saints. Playing over on the left is Jag Burden. Dead center field is Josh Cowden. Peyton Lewis playing over on right today. Drew Cowley playing at third. Brandon Boning at short. Jackson Cobb back to that middle infield turning two duo. Jake McMurray playing over and right. Behind the dish is Tanner Lindsley. And on the mound is the southpaw from Washington State, Merrick Sears. As Sears comes in with a 20 and third innings of work, 26 hits, 11 runs earned with 16 Ks and 9 walks, and he is rocking a 4.42 ERA. As JT Foreman stepping into the plate, as Sears takes a deep breath on the mound. First pitch in there for a called strike in the outer edge. 82 degrees today here in Pasadena, California. As the 0-1, that one misses low. The count equaled up 1 ball and 1 strike. Had quite a few All-Stars playing last night. Quite a few Saints and quite a few Conejo Oaks players that were there last night. Just to name a few: Zach Gregory, Grant Smith, and Brendan Bobo. Just to name some of the Conejo Oaks that were on the lineups and playing yesterday, which resulted in a 6-2 final going in favor of the SoCal division last night. It was a game that looked like it was going to be in favor of the North, as that one is slapped down the right field line. That one trails foul. So it was the NorCal division that was able to get a 2 spot on the top of the 4th inning. The pitching was electric for the NorCal. They had Matthew Sox, who was on the bump, Spencer Hines as well, Roman Fonsacker as well, another big name. Had quite a few guys last night who were a part of SEC programs, ACC programs, Big 12, Pac-12, and even had some Big West guys that were there last night. So here's the 3-2, waved at and missed, and TJ Foreman able to foul off the pitch there at the plate. Looks like Tanner Lindsley couldn't hang on to the ball. So we'll do it again. 3 balls, 2 strikes for those of you just joining us here in the top of the first, as the 3-2 hit the other way going foul. First 3 innings for the SoCal division would be 3 hitless innings. Going through the first time through the order. It was 6 Ks. 6 of the 9 starters for the SoCal team went down on strikes. Really 6. Then second time through the order, It wasn't until the fourth spot, it was Drew Cowley that was able to get the first run on the board on an RBI single. And here's a dribbler, finally the ball in play, but that one will bounce to center field for a leadoff single. So it's a 9-pitch at-bat there for TJ Foreman, and what an at-bat to start up the ball game here for the Oaks. And here's a two-hitter, Zach Gregory, checking in for the first time.
Now stepping in for the Oaks, number 41, Zach Gregory.
Good at-bats by Foreman. Definitely gives the rest of the team, the rest of the lineup, to get familiar with Sears' pitching arsenal that he has to offer. Sears kicks, fires, and misses one high and away. So Zach Gregory went 0 for 3 last night, grounding out to first, a line out to center, and a ground out to second in the showcase game. Would come in to replace Drew Cowley, and there's a slow number going to short. Boning steps on the back, throws over to first, not in time, but is able to get the 6U to put away TJ Foreman. So Gregory able to leg out a fielder's choice and to avoid the twin killing there. So with one gone, it's Grant Smith. For those of you just joining us, we had TJ Foreman work with a 9-pitch at-bat, was able to win the battle with a leadoff single to center. Zach Gregory hit a slow roller over to short, which would result in a fielder's choice. Boning would step on the bag at second to put Foreman away. And now it's Grant Smith who swings at the first offering. As the 0-1, good pitch there, getting the outer edge. 2 strike count to Grant Smith. Smith went 1 for 2 with a single, a run scored, and a strikeout. Definitely helped out with the 6 runs scored last night as the 0-2 pitch, and here's a high bouncer going to short. Boning has to come after it, throws on the run, and gets the out as Zach Gregory advances into scoring position. Been a very busy inning already for a shortstop. Boning has had to field the ball on his toes, has really shown great poise with the glove. Very rarely will you see Brandon Boning commit any errors this year. Has really had great control, fielding percentage, easy to assume at around 900 as that pitch gets away from Tanner Lindsley. Free real estate for Zach Gregory, now standing at third, and the first run of the game 90 feet away, but we'll go ahead and reset that. It looks like Brandon Bobo got hit with the pitch. So it'll bring Zach Gregory back to second. And it'll be a pair of runners on here in the top of the first. So Brandon Durfee steps into the plate. So lefty-lefty matchup. Sears starts him off with fastball in there for a called strike. That was pitch number 15 in the inning already for Merrick Sears. Definitely making him work extra to start up the ball game. Sears trying to even up his record, currently a 1-2 record. But early on, really has delivered quite the few strikes. Been lighting up the strike zone. He's already had quite a few 0-2 counts already with Smith and Durfee this evening. As the 0-2 pitch gets him swinging, and Durfee goes down on strikes. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 runners left on base as we go to the bottom of the first inning as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. Merrick Sears running into some traffic to start up the ball game. But here's the starting lineups for your Arroyo Seco Saints as Josh Cowden will lead things off. Jake McMurray will be in the 2 spot. Drew Cowley hitting 3rd. Peyton Lewis hitting cleanup. Bo Willis hitting 5th. Jag Burden hitting 6th. Brandon Boning hitting 7th. Tanner Lindsley hitting 8th. And batting 9th is Jackson Cobb. As we bring you the starting defense for the Oaks, Zach Gregory in left, Raul Sandoval playing in dead center, TJ Foreman over and right. As the first pitch to the starter is a breaking ball on the outer edge, called strike to Josh Cowden. Greg Melhoff playing over at 3rd, JT Naviak at short, Grant Smith at 2nd, Brendan Bobo over in 1st. And behind the plate is Caden Suji, and on the mound is Chris Torres. As Torres, on 5 appearances, does have 3 starts. Has 18 2/3 innings of work, as this one is elevated over to the other way, but Zach Gregory unable to make a play. That's a long run for the left fielder. So 18 2/3 innings of work, 22 hits on 14 runs, earned 7 walks, 14 strikeouts, has a 2-1 winning record, and has a 6.75 ERA. So both starting pitchers trying to lower down that ERA. Sears 4.42 ERA with Torres 6.75 as Cowden hits a can of corn over to right field. Very playable for the right fielder Foreman. So one gun, they put away the all-star Josh Cowden, and here's Jake McMurray. You want to talk about a guy that really has been heating up at the right moments. It's Jake McMurray. He is looking very good, swinging a very healthy bat indeed. He's looking very good. He's ahead of the count, 1 ball and no strikes. McMurray, 291 hitter on 55 at-bats, 16 hits. That is definitely a stat worth mentioning there for Jake McMurray. Very solid contact hitter indeed. Does not go down on strikes very often. This is a guy that leads the team with the fewest strikeouts. If you look at the players that qualify, as he hits a ground ball up the middle for the first base hit of the game for the Saints. Always doing a good job to make bat to ball happen there in the box. And with one gone, it's Drew Cowley that'll be stepping up to the plate. So as we mentioned before, Drew Cowley had that RBI single during the showcase game. 1 for 2, struck out looking, and the RBI single to center. Definitely had a great impression last night. Despite him having a throwing error over at 3rd, still was able to make up for it with another defensive play and with that RBI single. As the throw goes over to 1st to check up on Jake McMurray. And for those of you wondering back at home, is McMurray a stealing threat? Well, he's not. Does not have a single stolen base, but regardless, Torres is going to be throwing over to 1st. Still going to try to check on McMurray, keep him with a very small lead. But if you really look at Drew Cowley's numbers, it makes 100% sense why you would want this guy to be in the All-Star game. Definitely had plenty of tools to show off. I mean, for starters, with the amount of stolen bases, tied for the most stolen bags on the club. He's keeping up with Boning and Cobb, along with Jag Burden, who also has 5 stolen bases. Leading the way with 10 doubles on the team as well as he hits one, and that one's crushed over to third, bobbled over to the shortstop. That one's not going to be controlled by Bobo. Free bags here for the Saints, and that'll bring runners into scoring position. So Drew Cowley able to get on with an infield single, but was able to advance to second on the throwing error. It's a play you don't see very often. It was a ground ball sharply hit to Melhoff over at third, which ended up going to the shortstop way, JT Naviak. Then Naviak, in the final moments, had to come up with a throw over to first. Not exactly what he had in mind as far as that play was concerned. But no other. 2 base hits here in the inning. 1 gone. Here is Peyton Lewis in the bottom of the first. We are still scoreless for those of you just joining us, as Lewis gets under this one, and it's a fly ball over to shallow left center field. A trio of Oaks players come. Here comes Jake McMurray coming in to score, and it's a 1-0 lead for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Cowley ends up staying put over at second, but Peyton Lewis very aware of the situation.
Now stepping in for the Saints,
Able to get an RBI out of it. Does his job. So now with 2 outs, here is Bo Willis. As far as the bat that Willis has had lately, definitely has slowed down. Definitely had a much better start to the year. Currently hitting .208 on the year with a double. As he gets a good piece of this one, it's a deep fly ball over to left field, but definitely playable there for Zach Gregory as he records the final out. So it's 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base, 1-0 in favor of the Saints, as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. Saints able to capitalize on a lead in the bottom half of the first inning as we make our way to the top of the second here in Jackie Robinson Field. Alex Naveja with you all. We'll have Naviak, Melhoff, and Tsuji that'll be due up here in this inning. As first pitch to Naviak is in there for a called strike. And very quickly, Sears comes set and delivering the very next one, fouled back. Now the count, no balls and 2 strikes. As the Conejo Oaks currently sitting third in the SoCal division. They're coming into this game 13-7 overall. They are 6-4 currently in their last 10 games. Conejo Oaks 8-6 when it comes to conference play. So still getting the job done, whether they're playing conference or non-conference. So full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes going to TJ Naviak. On deck is Greg Melhoff, and there's a ground ball going the other way. Backhanded there by McMurray. So 1 gone, checking in for the first time, Greg Melhoff. Conejo Oaks keeping up with the San Luis Obispo Blues, who are just a half game behind the Blues. If the Oaks are able to win this one, they'll definitely be tied up with the Blues. So 1 ball and no strikes to Melhoff, and quickly delivered there by Sears, and it's a high fly ball going over to the left and caught there by Burden. So 2 very quick outs here from Eric Sears, and already a much different second inning as opposed to the first. In the first inning, it was Sears that was pitching in a much slower tempo, but here in the second inning, he is just getting a sign and delivering. And always looking controlled. Has his control, his composure, calm, collected, and has his composure. Considered the big 3 C's in baseball as far as being a pitcher is concerned. So very quickly with the 2-strike count, trying to put Zugi away, and here's a bouncer going right up in the middle. Tried to come up with it was Jackson Cobb. That'll end up in the center for a 2-out single. That was a well-placed grounder by Caden Tsuji. So with 2 gone, here's the 9-hitter, Raul Sandoval. As the first pitch fouled off. So Raul Sandoval coming out of UC Davis. The senior getting one last hurrah here. 6'1" frame there in the batter's box. 205 pounds. UC Davis didn't exactly have the type of year that they had in mind in big conference play, Big West. As pitch in there for a called strike. So no balls, 2 strikes here in the top of the second inning. As Sears delivers, and here's a blooper going over to shallow right field, dropping in there in front of Peyton Lewis. It's a long throw going over to third, showing off the gun, and there is Peyton Lewis. Letting loose, firing at third for an outfield assist, getting it done behind the plate as a catcher, and now coming in as an outfielder, flexing that arm, throwing out the runner at third. So it's a single by Tsuji, getting hosed over at third, but they leave a runner stranded at first. 1-0 in favor of the Saints as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. Peyton Lewis adding to another one of his all-star plays after making the showcase game appearance last night. As we'll have Burden, Boning, and Lindsley coming up in that order. As Lindsley hits Burden, goes after the first one, and it's a bouncer, and he'll be put away 5-3. Burden always going after that first pitch. Sometimes the first one going to be the best one that's going to be offered to you in at-bats.
Now stepping in for the Saints, number 10, Brandon Boning.
So one dead. Here is Brandon Boning. So first pitch to the shortstop, in there for a called strike. Look at the last two games for Boning as he's working with a 1-ball and a 1-strike count. He has been red hot. He has been 5 for 11. Last two road games that he was a part of against the Santa Barbara Foresters and against the Academy Barons. As the Santa Barbara Foresters, he went 2 for 4 with a single, an RBI double, and a strikeout. The strikeout numbers, definitely something that he is trying to keep at a low. But the bat definitely starting to wake up. Torres trying to look through his arsenal to try to get back into the count. Here comes the 3-1, and it's fouled off, and that's going inside of the dugout. And as for his game against the Barons, went 3 for 7 with a double, a run scored, a 2 RBI single, another run scored, and another single, another run scored, and a K. As the full count, pitch, misses, and it's a 1-out passport to Boning.
Now stepping in for the Saints, number 33, Tanner Lindsley.
So a good base runner to have on for the Saints. Some great set of wheels there on the base path. Boning with 5 stolen bases on the year. Torres will definitely keep an eye out on the shortstop. Maybe one of the few Saints that you do not want to permit on the base path. His first pitch to Lindsley, it's a somewhat of a pitch, little pitch out there. Caden Suji had to receive that one on his feet. Bottom of the second, 1-0 in favor of the Saints. All thanks to the sac fly hit by Peyton Lewis to cash in Jake McMurray. Boning with one gone, able to get on with the base on balls. Tanner Lindsley trying to reawaken the bat. Been something that he has been struggling with lately. Has a 132 batting average. 4 runs, 5 hits, 4 RBI, and 5 walks. 2-0 goes after that one. It's a shallow blooper that ends up into left field, and that's a line drive in the books. So another pair of base runners to get on here for the Saints. Torres has found himself in a jam in these first 2 innings, and he's considered him to be in a bigger jam now, facing off against a guy that is averaging a base hit a game. Cobb has been one of the most underrated Saints hitters in this lineup. currently riding on a 5-game hitting streak, dating it back to July 7th, where he originally got it started against the Academy Barons. Started off the hitting streak, went 1 for 3 with an RBI single. Last game that he participated in on a Sunday before the showcase game break. And for those Saints that were not a part of the showcase festivities, they were still able to take a couple of days off. It has been a grind this season. Definitely has been very tough for the team as far as having to play 5 consecutive games in a week. Definitely 5, 6 times at times. Mondays being off days, having to play Sundays periodically as Cobb gets under one. It's a shallow center field and a sliding grab there by Sandoval. And he throws over to second, and he's saying that Brandon Boning is out.
Now batting for the Saints, number 27, Josh Cowden.
So my apologies. Looks like the throw was not in time at second, but none other. It was a nice sliding grab there by Raul Sandoval. So runners on first and second, Boning at second, Lindsley at first. Back to the top of the order with Josh Cowden going after the changeup there. So now Cowden working with a 2-strike count. So Josh Cowden from Payson, Utah. Originally attended Salt Lake Community College. From there, was able to transfer over to BYU. First year with BYU and led in many categories for BYU. Was 5th on the team with batting average, .239. As far as at bats are concerned, as he swings and misses through this one to Suji. That one gets away from him and has to run all the way to the backstop. It's a strikeout, but the out is not recorded there at first, so the bases will be loaded for Jake McMurray.
Now batting for the Saints, number 2, Jake McMurray.
So sigh of relief there by Josh Cowden, despite him going down on strikes. That one was mishandled by Caden Tsuji. Bases are loaded now for a very good number 2 hitter, Jake McMurray. And there's a line drive sharply hit to second. Grant Smith in the final moments able to find some leather there. But it'll be no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 3 runners left on base. We remain at a 1-0 lead for Arroyo Seco as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. Arroyo Seco Saints leaving the bases loaded with a screaming line drive by Jake McMurray directly to the second baseman Grant Smith is how the inning comes to an end. As we find ourselves here in the top of the third inning, we'll have the top of the order. Hitters 1, 2, and 3 will be due up, with TJ Foreman already fouling off the first pitch, 0-1, with Merrick Sears' 30th pitch already delivered here in this ball game. Definitely has made a huge adjustment on the mound already. Has not had a clean slate of an inning just yet. See if he can find it here going the second time through the order. But Merrick Sears getting his first start with the Saints back in June 16th at Ventura County. And agreeably, one of the most dominant starts there as TJ Foreman unable to check his swing, and another one bites the dust. So the second K on the evening there for Merrick Sears, and gladly will put TJ Foreman away after getting on his first time up. One gone here is Zach Gregory. He's been retired his first time up. They put him away. He was able to get on with a fielder's choice. So Merrick Sears on that first start went 5 innings, 7 hits, 1 walk, as he put some lumber on this one. This one is skied over to right, and they'll put him away. So on 7 hits, 1 walk, no earned runs. Struck out 6 Pirates and did hit one of the Pirates hitters as well. Resulted in a win there for Merrick Sears. And despite him being at the top of the mountain, having that 1-0 record, after the next 2 starts, he would come back from cloud 9, went against the Academy Barons, went 6 innings of work, struck out 3 on 2 walks, allowed 9 hits and 4 earned runs. Did not get a lot of run support there in that game. And here's a deep drive over to left field. Tracking this one down over to left is Jag Burden. Able to track that one down very nicely into foul territory. So it's a 1-2-3 inning here for Merrick Sears as we go to the bottom of the third, 1-0. The Arroyo Seco Saints, as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. Merrick Sears feeling very confident after retiring the Oaks in order. As we're here in the top of the third, 1-0 in favor of the Saints. And here's Drew Cowley. Going to lead things off. We'll follow Lewis and Willis. Middle part of the order coming up for the Saints as the 0-1 pitch is a wild miss, low and away. Can even up the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fun fact about Drew Cowley, riding a 12-game hitting streak as he turns on this one. It's a deep drive going over to right field, and that's going to stay in the ballpark. One hopping the right field wall, and he's going to start off this inning with extra bases. Was able to get a pitch that he can drive. Was hoping that that ball could have kept carrying and carrying. And especially with the sun still out, warm conditions still here in Jackie Robinson Field in Pasadena. Just couldn't get that ball to hang out there. Maybe missed that 1 scoop of the protein shake this morning, but able to get the leadoff batter into scoring position. Here is Peyton Lewis. Lewis was a part of the showcase game last night as well. Came in as a catcher, but he's already showing reasons why he should have went in as an outfielder after that outfield assist, putting Suji away. Suji tried to go from first to third on a base hit by Raul Sandoval. But Lewis, with the cannon over in right field, was able to throw him out at third. One ball, 1 strike, no outs, runner in scoring position for the Saints. Lewis responsible for the 1 run on the board. Now you can see Torres really trying to pitch Lewis with caution. Doesn't want to leave anything in the zone, especially after leaving one high and tight to a hitter like Drew Cowley. Two-one, and that's a line drive, and that stays fair down the first base line. Coming in to score is Drew Cowley, and he comes in with an RBI double by Peyton Lewis. And Lewis already now with a 2 RBI day. Definitely has been lighting it up already after this showcase game. And with that double by Lewis, that'll be his 3rd with the Saints. So they'll start Lewis off, or Bo Willis, with a pitch low and away. Willis gave the 1-0 pitch a ride over to left. Ball would stay in the yard. And there's a rip. Going to split the gap here. That drops in right in front of the center fielder, Sandoval. And they're going to play it station to station. Lewis advances a 3rd, and it'll be 2 ducks in the pond in the corners.
Now batting for the Saints, number 15, Jag Burden.
So a good spot to be in here for Jag Burden. This is a guy that does an excellent job to be able to get on base. Coming into this at-bat with 10 RBI. First pitch, fastball in there for a called strike. The toss goes over to first to check up on Willis. So Jag Burden as a freshman made a very promising start to his collegiate career, earning 17 starts and 33 games played as a freshman over at UC Berkeley. And during the draft had quite the few teammates that were able to get drafted over at UC Berkeley, and quite frankly, quite the few Pac-12 players. A conference that definitely has been on the maps as far as for college baseball is concerned. UCLA always a team that draft very well year in and year out. UCLA, that's definitely a team. ASU, also another school that's always getting their players drafted. USC even had a player or two even get drafted in the 3 days, in the 20 rounds. And also U of A, another great program that produces some great baseball talent. So 2-0 in favor for the Saints. A run in the first and a run here in the bottom of the third. As a 3-1 pitch, that one stays low, and Burden would get on to juice up the bases for a huge hitter, Brandon Boney.
Next up, for the Saints, number 10, Brandon Boning.
So here's an opportunity for the Saints to break this game open. Boning does not have an official at bat. That one gets away from Tsuji. Coming in to score is Lewis. It's 3-0 in favor of the Saints. So another tough situation to be in if you're Torres on the bump. You were looking for that double play, at least to sacrifice a run for some outs. But now you've got two runners in scoring position. A single could potentially score both. Willis has no problem to be able to score him in. But Jack Burden, you hit a single, he's definitely going to come in to score. One and one the count. Torres comes set on the mound. Here comes the pitch. And here's a deep drive going over to right field. Willis tags up at third. He's coming in to score. Burden goes from second to third, and it is now a 4-0 lead for the Saints.
Now batting for the Saints, number 33, Tanner Lindsley.
First pitch to Lindsley, fouled off. Four to nothing, all in favor of the Saints. Big 3 spot here in the bottom of the third. And that one is slapped the other way, dropping in there for a single. And here comes Jack Burden to score, wanting to join the party, and that one has to feel good for Tanner Lindsley. Time is called. We'll see what the final say is for the Conejo Oaks. Do they stay with Chris Torres, or does he come in with the hook? Let's go ahead and recap this inning for you very quickly. Drew Cowley able to get it on with a leadoff double. Peyton Lewis was able to cash him in with an RBI double, same direction down the first base line. Bo Willis was able to hit a single to bring runners at the corners. Then Jack Burden with the walk was able to load up the bases. Then with a wild pitch, that was able to bring in a run to score. Then with the sac fly hit by Brandon Boning, that was good enough to be able to bring in Bo Willis. Then with the RBI single hit by Tanner Lindsley, that is able to bring in Jag Burden.
For the Saints, number 1, Jackson Cobb.
Still not out of the woods just yet. Cobb, another great offensive hitter for the Saints. Definitely make a lot of noise. Not a hitter that's going to have a whole lot of slugging percentage, but a guy that can definitely get you on and look for the RBI when you need it. Cobb coming into this game, 21 hits on 12 RBI. Definitely some solid numbers. He is tied third for the most hits on the Saints team. All knotted up with his partner, Jag Burden. Has not been able to record a hit today. Skied one over to center his last time up. And here's a ground ball. Finds its way over to right. So the carousel continues to spin as we go back to the top of the order with Josh Cowden. So Caden Suji really doesn't have a whole lot of a choice but to go out there, have a word with his pitcher. This could be it. Could be the end here for the starter, Chris Torres. Fortunately, wasn't able to limit the damage here. And yes, come with the ball, and that will end the night for Chris Torres. We'll go ahead and step aside. When we come back, we'll tell you who the new arm on the mound is, as the Saints trying to break this game wide open here in the bottom of the third inning. It is 5-0, Arroyo Seco Saints, as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. We bring it back to the bottom of the third. Still not out of it here, but they turn to Eric Ma, the right-handed pitcher, the senior, who is uncommitted, looking for a place to call home for his final year. He's going to inherit these two base runners on, as he's got to face off against a tough Josh Cowden and potentially a Jake McMurray as well. So Chris Torres unable to go through the full 3 innings that he was looking for, the minimum that he was looking for at this start. 2 1/3 with 1 K, 2 base on balls, 8 base hits, and 5 earned runs here in the start. That number could go up if either Cowden or McMurray can cash in any of these base runners that are currently on, as Ma trying to attempt the back pick over to second. So Lindsley at second, Cobb over at first. As the 1-1 off speed. Cowden fouls that one back. Quickly the count, 1-2. So far here in this inning, 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and 2 runners that are currently on. Saints really trying to answer to the Conejo Oaks with an exclamation point as the 1-2 pitch. That's a changeup that breaks into the dirt, trying to get Cowden to go fishing that time. 2-2. Two. That's a wild miss, low and outside, and it's a full count. So the series all tied up at 2s between the two teams. One of these programs trying to go 3-2. And trying to have those bragging rights of who has the upper hand, as Cowden wins the battle with a walk.
Next up, for the Saints, number 2, Jake McMurray.
So the Conejo Oaks just hoping that this nightmare could come to an end here in the bottom of the third. If McMurray is able to get on, we'll have an official bat around through the order, as that one goes bloop, but goes foul. So McMurray, his last time up, went down with some loud contact over at second. Sometimes the most frustrating part of the game. You know that you pieced up on the baseball very well, but you see that it ends up going straight to the defense. All you can hope is that the baseball turns into a bar of soap and they can't hang on to it for you to at least have a chance to get on. And that one goes the other way. Nothing that Smith can do there. Lindsley coming to score, and they'll play it station to station. Bases are still loaded. 6-0 in favor of your Arroyo Seco Saints.
Now batting for the Saints, number 21, Drew Cowley.
So the bases will be loaded here for the Arroyo Seco Saints. And we have Drew Cowley, who originally started this inning. Started it with a leadoff double down the first base line. And so far, Ma trying to be the answer of how they're going to get out of this inning. At this point, the Oaks just trying to find a way to get out of the inning. But he is ahead of the count to Drew Cowley. No balls and 2 strikes. Another run will be charged to Chris Torres. That was after Tanner Lindsley coming to score. That is Torres' runner that he allowed to come on. So that'll be 6 earned runs. So the max that he can have today is 7 earned runs. Because after that, the runner at second, Cowden, and the runner at first, McMurray, those are both Moz runners. Here's the 1-2. And Cowden elevates one over to left field. Runner is tagging over from third. He comes in to score, and the Saints breaking this game wide open.
Now stepping in for the Saints, number 11, Peyton Lewis.
So Jackson Cobb was the one that came in to score from third, so that'll be 7 earned runs on the night for Chris Torres. Definitely was not a nice day in the office for the Torres, and the Saints with a rude welcome back to Jackie Robinson Field for Chris Torres. As Peyton Lewis getting another opportunity with the bat in the same inning. Already with 2 ribbies on the evening. Lewis, another great contact hitter for the Saints. 13 strikeouts to be more exact. But definitely has a very good bat-to-ball skills. As the 1-1, a breaking ball. Both runners were taking off on the pitch. Sun starting to set here in Jackie Robinson Field. Definitely can feel a change in the temperature, and the sun being away from the fans in attendance here. Which means the ball isn't going to travel as well. Going to be very tough to muscle one out of here, as it already has been hard to be able to hit one out of this park. But quite frankly, Saints never really have been a team to be able to hit the long ball and get them out of the trouble, as the 2-2 pitch waved at and missed, and Lewis goes down on strikes. So 6 runs, 6 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. 7-0 in favor of the Arroyo Seco Saints, as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. huge 6 spot in the bottom of the 3rd inning for the Saints as we go to the top of the 4th inning. It's Brandon Bobo who skies one into the infield, and it's Cowley that comes up with the out. 1 gone. So some breaking news worth mentioning. Tristan Garnett, the 6'6" left-handed pitcher from Cal State Dominguez Hills, has officially signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. Congratulations to Tristan, and we wish him the best of luck in all of his future endeavors with the Philadelphia Phillies, a very great team and a very successful Major League Baseball club. And looking forward to hearing his name being announced in MILB and in Major League Baseball down the line. So 1-1 the count to Brandon Durfee. Last night, Tristan Garnett, he earned himself an opportunity to showcase his stuff last night in the showcase game. Went an inning and struck out 2. Low 90s fastball, filthy off-speed pitches. Of course, just with that frame alone, that's the 1-2 pitch, making Durfee look filthy and making him look foolish. And another one bites the dust. Garnett, a definite, very intriguing player, and definitely a guy that's going to make it far with that 6'6" frame and the velocity on the fastball that he possesses. And definitely one good thing, as there's a bouncer going over to first, and McMurray will record another out himself. So it's Merrick Sears who has retired the Conejo Oaks in order, 2 straight innings. Remains at a 7-0 lead, Arroyo Seco, as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. Merrick Sears retiring the last 6 Oaks hitters that have stepped up to the plate as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. And it's Bo Willis that will get things going, followed by Burden and Boning. And it'll still be Eric Ma still on the rubber as he fires the 0-1 pitch. Willis hacks and misses. Quickly the count 0-2. So as we were talking about Tristan Garnett signing with the Philadelphia Phillies, this is a guy that you definitely would like in your ball club, just especially how he carries himself. Very humble guy. Always want players like Tristan on your team, a guy that is very nice, very humble, and just a guy that you know that can get along with the whole team. He has no problems with speaking with anybody on the team, making connections, making friendships on the team, and definitely had my connection with Tristan Garnett. And as we mentioned before, we wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors with the Philadelphia Phillies. So Bo Willis going down 1-2-3 as it'll be Jag Burden stepping up to the plate. First strike there to Jack Burden. Hitters count, 2 balls, 1 strike. Burden is currently 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Here comes the 3-1. And fastball missing away. And it's another walk for Burden. Great work for the Arroyo Seco Saints. They have been averaging at least a base runner an inning.
Number 10, Brandon Boning.
The Oaks have yet to put the Saints away in order. At times, during the showcase game breaks, or even the all-star breaks, teams sometimes get accustomed to being away from the game. And when they come back onto the field, it sometimes can throw them out of their mojo, as the Saints have been on their mojo, and because of that, they have been able to climb all the way to the top of the SoCal division. So 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 gone, 1 runner on, 7-0 in favor for Arroyo Seco. Brandon Boning at the plate, facing off against Eric Ma. As Ma steps off of the rubber, try to reevaluate the pitching arsenal that he has. And there's a bloop that drops in there to right field. Proper placement there for Brandon Boning. And just like that, with that single by Boning, now they're averaging 2 base runners in these first 4 innings. And definitely the Sticks are wide awake. They're definitely on fire, especially with Tanner Lindsley coming up to the plate already with 2 singles, an RBI single to add along to that with a run scored. Definitely a game worth mentioning there for Tanner Lindsley. Has really been focusing on how he's going to get back to his offensive numbers. The catcher from Oral Roberts coming off of a multi-hit game on a Sunday against the San Diego Waves. 2 for 5 with a strikeout, ground out, RBI single, a pop out, and a single. Ma definitely trying to light up the radar gun with fastball away. Hasn't had too much luck with the fastball. Two one. That one's a nicked. Going back 2-2. So Tanner Lindsley, son of John and Stephanie Lindsley, has an older brother, Brady, who plays baseball in the Washington Nationals organization. His brother was drafted in the 4th round, 123rd overall of the 2020 Major League Baseball draft out of University of Oklahoma, as he goes the other way with it, going to left field, and we've got ourselves another bases loaded for the Saints. And the first time this year, Tanner Lindsley waking up when needed here in the season with 3 singles.
Next up for the Saints, number 1, Jackson Cobb.
So here comes Cobb. As we were mentioning before, one of the better RBI guys on the team. It was a stretch of games that Cobb was driving in runs no problem. In his last 2 games, he is 6 for 9 against the Barons and the Waves. Against the Barons, a single, an RBI single, run scored, another single, a run scored with 2 Ks as the 3-0 pitch, and it's a base on balls, but he gets a ribby attached to it as Jag Burden crosses the plate for run number 8. Sama trying to get talked into pushing through this inning. 8-0, 1 out. And they start off with a strikeout to Bo Willis. What looked like a promising inning for Ma. So back to the top of the order with Josh Cowden. This will be the 4th time through the Saints order. And we're just here in the bottom of the 4th. One of those games that the Saints are going to be able to get many at-bats. We'll see if that talk proves itself worthy. So 1-1 now to Josh Cowden with a fly out, a strikeout. Goes with the changeup. Really has been trying to get Cowden to chase on the changeup, but has been showing great discipline at the plate. Two 2-1, and a generous called strike there. And Josh Cowden attacking at the 2-2, comes up empty, goes down on strikes. So Ma trying to retire the side here in the bottom of the 4th. Jake McMurray really going to look to try to get this team into double figures in scoring runs. So Boning at 3rd, Lindsley at 2nd, and Cobb at 1st. And there's a drive going over to right center field. Coming in on the run is TJ Foreman to record the final out. So 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on base. 8-0. Arroyo Seco, as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. So welcome back to Jackie Robinson Field. Alex Naveja with you all. It's a pleasure to be a part of your evening wherever you may be, as we'll have the bottom half of the order duet up with Greg Melhoff, Caden Suji, and Raul Sandoval. As we've got a new pitcher on the bump now, David Vizcaino from UC Irvine, a Big West product. 6'3" frame, the freshman weighing in at 220 pounds, as there's a bloop being hit there in left field. A robbing play there by Jack Burden. Tumbling, hanging onto the ball, one gone. So David Vizcaino definitely going to appreciate that one coming from Jack Burden. Not only are the sticks fully awake here for the Saints, but the gloves definitely there as well. One gone, and it's the 8-hitter Caden Suji. We bring you the final stat lines for Merrick Sears. 4 innings, 3 Ks, no walks, 3 hits, and no earned runs here in this start. And you want to talk about a great start. This is definitely one for the record books for Merrick Sears. Definitely had a great start, and quite frankly, I believe it's the reason he has friends and family here in attendance cheering him on in the 4 innings of work, and that's what's really gotten him through the ball game. That first inning looked like he had some jitters facing off against the first 5 hitters to get out of the first inning, but after that, really got comfortable. Second inning still looked like some of the jitters were still present, but was able to fight through it, get out of it, despite the 2 singles that were hit by Suji and Sandoval. But then when he went through the order, hitters 1 through 6, was able to retire them and put them away in order, as the 3-1 is fouled there at the plate. Second time through was definitely much better there for Sears. Got 2 Ks out of it. Was able to put away TJ Foreman on strikes and a Brendan Durfee. A lot of fly balls and pop outs hit by the Oaks as the 3-2 pitch. Location, location, location. And another one bites the dust. So 2 quick outs here for Vizcaino, and here is Raul Sandoval. Sandoval responsible for 1 of the 3 base hits for the Oaks. Two Big West opponents, very familiar with each other. One from UC Davis and one from UCI. Vizcaino, a player that was a part of the regionals with the UC Irvine program. Had quite a few players that were coming from regional programs, super regionals, College World Series as well. A lot of players had to take care of business first with their respective programs. Then, after the business was done, they reported to their CCL teams. As the 1-2 pitch tries to go with the breaking ball. The curveball looked very nice, dancing into the inner half of the plate. Didn't miss by a whole bunch there, 2-2. Vizcaino comes set, delivers the 2-ball, 2-strike. Another one bites the dust there. So the last 9 hitters that have stepped up to the plate have been put away. Still remains 8-0 lead as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network.
21, Drew Cowley.
Pitching locked in here for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Hitting also locked in here in this one as we bring you to the bottom of the 5th inning. Drew Cowley will lead things off for the Saints, riding on a 12-game hitting streak, leading the team in that. No other Saints hitter has come in with a 12-game hitting streak. And definitely the biggest 10-year Saint. Has a very big relationship with head coach Milam as there's a ground ball sharply hit over to short. By the time Naviak handles the ball nicely, that will allow Cowley to get on with an infield single. Cowley always doing a great job to square up on the baseball.
Now stepping in for the Saints.
So leadoff batter gets on. Peyton Lewis now stepping up to the plate. And the duo of Cowley and Lewis, the 3 and cleanup hitter, has been very nice tonight. If you look at both of these hitters, they've only been put away once. If you really want to go down to the nitty-gritty, they're 4 for 5. They do have 2 sac flies. So this will definitely be a 1-2 punch that Coach Milam will be looking into. Look at it down the line. On deck, new designated hitter, Connor Bradshaw, had an opportunity in the CCL Showcase game as well at the Urban Youth Academy in Compton, California. Lewis getting the green light to swing 3-0. Is a 3-1. Gets under it and goes out of play. That's a souvenir. Three-two. And that one sharply hit, makes its way over to right field, and the Saints will play it station to station. So checking in for the first time today, Connor Bradshaw. Bradshaw really has been having quite the year. First time in his collegiate career that he comes in as a 1-hitter, the leadoff guy, usually in Pepperdine, usually in the bottom half of the lineup, but the Saints really have been enjoying his on-base skills, his hitting skills, most importantly. 6'2" in the box, the freshman. Definitely playing the game of baseball like a veteran in college baseball as he hits a sharp ground ball over to short. Naviak steps on the bag, fires to first for a 6-3 twin killing.
Next up, for the Saints, number 15, Jag Burden.
So 2 dead. Cowley able to move to third. And here's Jack Burden. Burden has yet to record an RBI in this ball game. Let's bring you some action around the CCL. Academy Barons playing against Orange County tonight. Not very many games all around the CCL, and especially because of the NorCal teams trying to travel back to their respective facilities. Definitely being used as a travel day. We'll have the schedule at full strength tomorrow. One, two, fouled off. San Luis Obispo Blues as well. They're playing against the Santa Barbara Foresters. That will be a very fun game to watch. Two teams trying to battle it out to keep up with the Saints. Ground ball. Bobo in the final minutes having to protect himself from the hop, avoiding that one from going down the line, and he will put him away 3U. So no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. The Saints leading this one as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network.
Leading off for the Oaks.
Welcome back to Jackie Robinson Field. Alex Naveja with you all as the Saints leading the way 8-0 and leaving the Conejo Oaks looking at them in their rear view taillights. As we go back to the top of the order, we'll have Foreman, Gregory, and Smith in that order as Kyle Sonda coming out of the bullpen, going to be replacing David Vizcaino after going an inning and striking out 2 and zeros across the board. As Kyle Sonda with a winning record of 1-0 with 16 and a third innings of work. Has permitted 8 hits, only 1 earned run on 27 Ks, leading the team in that category with only 3 walks. So the best of luck to the batters that are coming up to the plate. It's either you're swinging or you're K'ing. Only 2 options that you have against Kyle Sondak. Doesn't walk a whole lot of guys, so you got to have a very offensive mentality when you step up to the plate against Sondak. And he is rocking a South 1 ERA, .55, a very greedy ERA for the right-hander out of University, Texas, San Antonio. Definitely has been doing an excellent work as a reliever. Also has a save. Been doing great work as a reliever. Sondak, 5'11", the freshman, weighing in at 195 pounds from Katy, Texas. As here's a slow roller over to short. Boning very routinely makes the outs. So Boning with the outs. Here is Zach Gregory. Sondak originally attended Obra D. Tompkins High School. His freshman year with University Texas San Diego had an ERA of 6.75 with only 10 2/3 innings of work, permitted 13 hits with 10 runs, 8 of them earned with 4 walks and 9 Ks. So 0-1 the count to Zach Gregory. As a friendly reminder, in the bottom half of the inning, we will have John Chomko. That will be our player interview coming in as our player to be interviewing in the bottom half of the inning. So make sure to stay tuned for John Chomko. So 1 ball, 1 strike to Zach Gregory. We're here in the top of the 6th inning, 8-0. The Arroyo Seco Saints with the lead. Most of the damage being done in the bottom of the 3rd inning, but the bats have yet to slow down here in this ball game. They have already had 13 base hits on the night and 11 runners left on base. The Conejo Oaks currently only with 3 base hits and 3 runners left on base, have yet to put a run on the board, as the 2-1 is a mammoth of a swing and a miss by Gregory, evening it up 2-2. As a freshman, Sondak appeared in 5 games as in relief with a 4.32 ERA, worked 8 1/3 innings, allowed 9 hits and 4 earned runs, walking 5 and striking out 10. As Zach Gregory goes down on strikes and another one bites the dust. So 2 quick outs here for Kyle Sondak. And here is Grant Smith.
Number 15, Grant Smith.
And the streak continues here for the Arroyo Seco pitching. 13 hitters have been put away here for the Saints. It continues to be the dominance on the mound, the combination of Sears, Vizcaíno, and Sondak. They have been in complete control of the ball game. What a start by Merrick Sears. Also had some amazing relievers following Sears, as that one is lasered over to left field for a 2-out single, and that'll put an end to the streak. So Brendan Bobo now stepping up to the plate.
Next up for the Oaks, number 5, Brendan Bobo.
So that's base hit number 9 permitted by Kyle Sondak on the year. And definitely has not allowed too many base hits. So all you can really do is tip your cap to the three-hitter Grant Smith for really being able to square up on the baseball. You look at the last appearance for Kyle Sonda, 2 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 4 Ks. That would be good enough to give Sonda his first save as a Saint. Great location there for that curveball, able to get that low and outside corner. When it comes down to Kyle Sonda, always able to hit his locations, able to hit his spots, and his curveball always being that go-to pitch, as there's a fly ball hit over to left and put away there by Jag Burden. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. 8-0, your Arroyo Seco Saints with the lead as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. Welcome back to Jackie Robinson Field. Alex Naveca with you guys. 8-0 in favor of the Arroyo Seco Saints. And alongside of me is John Chomko. John, how you doing today? And it's an absolute pleasure to have you in here in the press box.
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Well, John, what's been your thoughts so far of this ball game? It has been absolutely electric offensively for the team.
It has, and it's been fast paced. I think our pitchers are doing a good job, kind of in the zone, and it's just been a fast paced game, I think.
And you know, you're going into this year with the Arroyo Seco Saints. You're going out of town. What have been your thoughts so far here in Southern California as well?
It's just been fun going on the long bus rides with the guys. It's just been a fun time out here in Cali. No complaints. Weather's been great. Definitely not missing Houston's weather right now. Can definitely get used to this 75 weather all the time. It's been pretty great.
And absolutely being across the street from the Rose Bowl as well. I mean, that's got to be pretty nice for you guys as well, right?
That is cool. Our coach is supposed to take us on a little tour soon, so that'll be fun whenever we get to do that.
That's going to be a nice little trip there as there's a bouncer going over to third, and Boney goes down. So one quick outs here for the Saints as we have a Tanner Lindsley stepping up to the plate. And how about Lindsley having himself a 3-hit day today?
Lindsay is hot right now,
Tanner
and I believe
Lindsley.
he's gonna get another one. Try not to jinx him, but I think he's having a good day today.
And you know what? It's safe to say I'm not going to give him the broadcaster's jinx. I'm going to go ahead and let him do his thing. And he's definitely starting to heat up, definitely starting to warm up, and definitely starting to look very good right now. So, John, you have three excellent catchers that you got to throw to. You have Lindsley, you have Willis, and then you have Lewis. Who is your catcher that you just love to throw to?
I mean, two of them are my roommates right now, so I don't want to odd one of them out. So I would probably go with T. Linz. I think he has good pitch calling skills, and we just have a good chemistry, I think. So we gel pretty well.
So you're talking about him managing the game very well, but as far as a pitcher is concerned, your mechanics have to be top notch too as well, right? Who do you attribute your pitching mechanics to? Who has helped you to pitch so well?
I have two pitching coaches. One was one at Blaine College, my junior college I went to, Blake Witter. He's taught me a lot, and David Evans they both have just taught me like good mechanics, basically, yeah.
And right now, almost every outing that you've had have been amazing. You have a winning record of 1-0 right now. You're almost 3 Ks, 4 Ks, a relief appearance. What leads to your success?
I think just having fun. The summer ball atmosphere is just a lot more relaxed, and I think that just plays into it. Having fun, staying relaxed, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
As we have two gone here, we'll have Jackson Cobb stepping up to the plate. But
Sorry, I think I jinxed T. Linz.
Oh man, he might listen into the broadcast and he might say, "Hey man, I think you just jinxed me. I was just gonna go for number 4, but I think you just jinxed me right now."
Yeah, my bad, T. Linz.
But to finish up this bottom half of the 6th inning, still 2 gone here with Jackson Cobb with 1 ball and no strike on his count. We were talking about turtles, and I know you were talking about how you have some turtles back at home.
I do. I have 7 turtles back at home.
Wow.
They're technically my dad's because he's obviously always taking care of them, but I like to say they're mine just to say I have 7 turtles, you know?
That's a fun fact.
Yeah.
That's a very fun fact. What kind of turtles are they?
They're just little box turtles. They live in our backyard. Dad has a nice little setup for them.
Like a little pond?
No, it's just like a little piece of mulch, I guess. I don't know, just like a little square spot for them.
And that ends the bottom of the 6th inning. The Saints go down 1-2-3 as we go to the top of the 7th inning. How's about we have John hang out with us for another half inning with us? So stay tuned. John Chomko will be with us in the top of the 7th inning. And remember, you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network.
off the bottom of the 7th.
First time tonight, the Saints going down in order. It was Aiden Holly, the new arm, that was on the bump for the Conejo Oaks, Alex Naveca. And again, alongside of me is John Chomko as the Turtle Talk continues here for John Chomko. We were continuously talking about the turtles that he had going on, and he was mentioning about his dad and how he's a big animal guy and a guy that really likes turtles.
He has a little butterfly collection in his office, and I think he had a pet alligator when he was like 12 years old or something like that.
Wow.
And it's literally like taxidermied in our house, so we still have him.
Wow.
Yeah.
A pet alligator. I feel like that's not something you'd get here in Cali, you know.
No.
Hey, let's go get an alligator.
Yeah.
But then again, here in Cali, where would you find an alligator,
I
right?
have no idea. Yeah.
And Kyle Sonduck still on the mound and trying to put Brandon Durfee away on strikes. And two guys, University of Texas, San Antonio. What's it like being a teammate of Kyle Sonduck?
Oh, I love Kyle. He's a great guy. He's actually living on our living room right now. He was living with us. He was living in our room, but then I guess he decided he wanted to get an air mattress, so he's living in our living room floor now. But he's a good guy. Obviously doing really good this summer.
And especially he's being that guy, sacrificing his body and having to sleep on the floor. I think that takes a lot to be able to sleep on the floor. You know, not everybody could just say, "Hey, I'll sleep on the floor. It's okay."
He said it's more comfortable than the bed, but I'm not. I wouldn't want to do that.
Definitely going to be sacrificing your body there. There's a ball that goes down the line, but goes foul. But the previous out was recorded on a fly out to left. Brandon Durfee going down on a fly out. So one gone here in the top of the 7th inning. JT Naviak at the plate with a very small strike there at the plate. So going into the summer, what were a couple of things that you wanted to work on?
I wanted to work on my off speeds. I think my curve and my slider, or cutter, I guess you would say, have been my main focus, just trying to improve those. Because velo, I think that just kind of comes, just lifting and stuff. But working on specific pitches was my main goal this summer.
Absolutely. And are we thinking about having a cutter, maybe like Mariano Rivera, maybe
That's
one day
what I
like
want.
that?
I mean, eventually, hopefully.
Breaking bats left and right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
I think that's like a big goal for relievers like that, just to have overpowering stuff and just to jam the hitters and just to say, hey, how many bats have you broken? And you can say, oh, I broke like 5 in a week because I threw my cutter and it was cutting into lefty hitters, and yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. But my cutter's definitely been working a lot this summer. Haven't broken too many bats though, unfortunately.
Is that something that pitchers really do brag about, though? Is that something that pitchers really ask each other, hey, how many bats have you hit? I've heard that pitchers have their own way of, asking guys, and they have their own little lingo.
Yeah, I'd rather strike him out instead of just breaking his bat, but breaking his bat would be a cool thing, I suppose. But striking out like that one, it's just more satisfying, in my opinion.
And he used a curveball that time, too, and that thing was just dancing inside of the strike zone. Looked nice, just being released off of his arm there. But do you and Kyle ever compete at all as hey, my pitches have more bite, or hey, look at me, my pitches are better, or anything like that? Any competition?
We're pretty friendly with each other. We haven't really we're not trying to one up each other every time. We kind of just do our own thing, and we're both doing pretty well so far.
And definitely two University of Texas San Diego pitchers doing their jobs here with the Arroyo Seco Saints. We had John Chomko with us here in the press box. John, thank you so much for stopping by with us here in the bottom of the 6th and in the top of the 7th inning. We appreciate every moment of it. And once again, wishing you the best of luck for the remainder of the year with the Saints. And, of course, wishing you the best of luck and enjoy SoCal. And good luck to you and your dad with the Turtles.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network.
Now leading off.
Welcome back to Jackie Robinson Field. The Arroyo Seco Saints continue with an 8-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Back to the top of the order we go with Cowden, McMurray. So 8-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, runner on. Drew Cowley at the plate. Lefty-righty matchup. As the 1-1 breaking ball. Didn't get all of that one. Count 2-1. Take a look at a couple of scores across the CCL. Don't have too many games in action at the moment. As here's a bouncer going over to second. The throw goes to short, and that's all she wrote on the play. So Drew Cowley hustles down the line, doing the little things right to keep the inning going and giving Peyton Lewis an opportunity to swing the bat here with 2 gone in the bottom of the 7th. The Orange County Riptide leading the way 7-4 against the Academy Barons. Santa Barbara Foresters scoring double figures against the San Luis Obispo Blues 10-4. And the Lincoln Potters leading this one 6-2. And this is the other game going on as well. The only NorCal division action going on are the Walnut Creek Crawdads and the Lincoln Potters. As there's a drive going over to right field. This one's going to bounce all the way to the right field wall. They're going to wave in Cowley, trying to score from first. No problem. 9-0 Saints. And it's all thanks to the hustle by Drew Cowley to keep the inning going. Had he had not hustled down the line, we would be in the top of the 8th inning.
Now stepping in for the Saints, number 25, Connor Bradshaw.
So Peyton Lewis with a 3 RBI day at the plate. And Peyton Lewis, that stick is just working at the perfect time as the new designated hitter Connor Bradshaw stepping up to the plate. His last time up grounded into the 6-3 double play. Naviak took the base himself and throwing a strike over to first. A huge swing, and I still believe one of the cleats are still flying away from Connor Bradshaw out of that swing. No balls and one strike. He's definitely trying to swing out of his shoes. Connor Bradshaw in the showcase game last night went 0 for 2 with a fly out to center and a strikeout. And Madrigal flexing the velocity, 88 miles an hour on the fastball. Bradshaw unable to touch it there, trying to put a huge swing on it, trying to combine power with power. So Bradshaw, reason why I say power to power is because you look at this guy, and he definitely's got some power, leading the team with long balls with 4. The only players that come close with 2, with Cowden and Cowley. Here's the 1-2, the bouncer, and it ends up hitting Bradshaw. My apologies. Such a well-balanced baseball player. Bradshaw, second on the team, tied up with Cooper Elliott. A very unfortunate story with Elliott. Fortunately injuring himself yesterday in the showcase game while running the 60. Very tough player to lose at this very moment. Saints need all hands on deck at this point of the season as Jack Burden takes first pitch, called strike. So Bradshaw can provide some speed. You also look at Lewis over at second. They can both provide some speed. Earlier, the Saints attempted at a double steal. So the question is, will they attempt it again? Maybe not, as that one's bobbled by the second baseman. Smith unable to hang on to it. It's like the baseball turned into a bar of butter there. Couldn't hang on to it. So the bases will be loaded once again for the Saints on an E4.
Arroyo Seco Saints, number 10, Brandon Boning.
It all comes down to Drew Cowley running out the ground ball that he initially beat to be able to get on with the fielder's choice. Gave an opportunity to Lewis, Bradshaw, and Burden to load up the bases and allowing Boning to potentially get his RBI numbers up and his offensive numbers. As Boning trying to clear the bases with a swing like that, the count 0-1. So Brandon Boning, 11 RBI as a Saint. Definitely looking for some ways. He has 4 doubles and a triple. As Sugi will go on to the mound and have a quick word with the starter or with the pitcher Madrigal. Inning start off with a chopper hit by Josh Cowden, followed by a 1-out single by Jake McMurray. Then Drew Cowley hitting a ground ball that he would get on with the fielder's choice. They erase McMurray on the base path, 4-6. Then Peyton Lewis came in with the RBI double to bring in Cowley from first. Hit by pitch to Bradshaw, and Burden getting on with an error. So now it's Brandon Boning with a 2-strike count. And despite the Saints being up 9-0, no lead really is safe for the Saints, especially when you played a game last week against the Orange County Riptide where you were up by so many runs, and for the Riptide to be able to have some sort of life to come back into the ball game, and you end up playing 13 innings of baseball. 13-12 was the final for that one. 13 innings of baseball, 13 runs scored for the Saints. But that lone win for the Saints would be enough to get them a winning streak, and that is the very first week that the Saints go 5-0. We're talking about some good talent here in the SoCal division. Everybody in the SoCal division are very talented and always a challenge. Nobody should be taken lightly. And there's going to be a wild pitch getting away from Suji, and easily coming into scores, Peyton Lewis, double figures, 10-0. So Peyton Lewis with 2 runs today. Also joins Drew Cowley with a 2-run day with Jag Burden as well. So the deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 runners on. As there's a fastball missing low. Full count. So after that win against the Riptide, they would play against the Barons, the Foresters 2 straight times, home and away. Then they would go to the Urban Youth Academy on that Saturday, the 10th, and they would play there. 18 runs would be scored that Saturday. And runs, just not a problem for the Saints, as here's a pop-up right in front of the Conejo Oaks dugouts, and it ends up being the new first baseman that comes in to make the grab. And the first baseman goes by the name of Robert Capozzi. So 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on base. 10-0. The Saints, as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. More runs coming in to score for the Saints. As a pinch hitter, Cody Sulak now going to be pinch hitting here for Caden Suji. Could be potentially replacing Suji. And it's still Kyle Sondak on the bump. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. As Cody Sulak, the catcher, the senior from Pacific University, 5'10", weighing in at 185 pounds. And Sondak continues to look sharp there on the mound. The off-speed pitches have been very deviant for the Conejo Oaks hitters. Sondak set, delivers the 1-2. Breaking ball gets him down on strikes, and another one bites the dust. Kyle Sondak so far with a pair of Ks. As Hunter Call now coming in as a pinch hitter.
Number 10, Hunter Call.
So Hunter Call from Santa Barbara Community College goes after the first one. It's a slow roller going over to Boning. Boning making those plays look so easy at short. Really has had quite the few slow rollers hit his way and just charging him, no problems, and throwing strikes over at first. Jake McMurray, no problems over at first. Boning definitely on top of his defensive game. So breaking ball in there for a called strike. Back-to-back firing, called strikes there by Kyle Sondak. So Andrew Sharp currently at the plate, working with 2 strikes in his count, and he gets hit by a pitch.
Now batting for the Oaks. Number 13, Daniel Cabral.
So Austin Carrillo now stepping up to the plate. Had the trio of pinch hitters here for the Conejo Oaks. Now the Oaks just trying to give playing time to as many guys as possible at this point, being down double figures. Oh, 1. Breaking ball breaks away from Carrillo. So Austin Carrillo, outfielder from Cal Lutheran, has the privilege of staying in the summer at home, playing there at Sparky Anderson Field. Doesn't need to travel all that far to be able to get to the ballpark. So 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 gone here in the top of the 8th inning. 10-0 in favor of the Saints. 2-1. Goes with the curve, called strike. If you take a look at the standings, the Saints at the top of the SoCal Conference. As the 2-2 breaking ball, sit down, and another one bites the dust. So 2 Ks here in this inning as they leave a runner stranded. He was hit by a pitch. Andrew Sharp left on the base path. 10-0, the Saints, as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network.
Leading off for the Saints, number 33.
Kyle Sonduck now with 3 Ks on the relief appearance on 2 innings of work. As we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, Tanner Lindsley will get things going here for the Saints. We'll continue to face off against Brandon Madrigal on the mound. As Lindsley trying to keep up with that fastball. Sometimes those high fastballs are nice to chase. So a short week this week for the Saints. Had their game scheduled on Tuesday at the San Diego Waves. Sunday, played a game here in Jackie Robinson Field against the Waves. It's a very close 8-7 loss. That was the game that would put an end to the 5-game winning streak for the Saints. Only 3 games this week for the Saints. Next ball game, they'll be playing against the San Luis Obispo Blues. It'll be 6 o'clock first pitch time. We will definitely have the coverage for you guys on the Saints Radio Network for you all. And Saturday will be a day off because the Saints will head back onto San Luis Obispo. That'll be a day game, 1 p.m. first pitch time at SLO. We'll definitely be having the coverage for you guys on that one as well. The Saints, in the final week of July, they will definitely be having a very busy schedule. They will play almost every SoCal opponent as Tanner Lindsley having himself a night. A 4-hit day for the big fella, Tanner Lindsley. Start off 3 for 3 with a single, RBI single, runs scored, then another single, and now trying to finish off his night potentially with another single.
Now stepping in for the Saints.
So 4 for 5. And Lindsley behind the plate, and this is exactly the production that Coach Milam was expecting from Lindsley since the beginning of the year. The freshman from Oral Roberts definitely can provide a lot of pop. Definitely settling into the season very nicely. And that last week of July, the beginning of August, will be almost like Major League Baseball's version of September baseball, where teams will be scrambling left and right, trying to contend, trying to find a spot on the playoffs. And looking at the standings, right now, nothing is granted. As close as the standings are right now, SoCal division, very interesting one indeed. Saints only atop of the Blues by half a game, which will make these next two games for the Saints very interesting. Saints should definitely aim to go 2-0 against the Saints. But it's a very tough task, having to travel to the Blues in back-to-back games. Going to be tough to see how the Saints overcome the travels. 3 hours on the charter bus. Three to 4 hours, actually. So ultimately, some of the guys will use that time to really rest up. But then that final hour, last couple minutes of the road trip, definitely going to be used to lock into the game mentally, get them ready for the game. And definitely going to be some big ones for the Saints, as we mentioned. It's a very close race. Academy Barons, despite them being at the back end of the standings, they are behind 5.5 games as there's a line drive nicely tracked down there by Raul Sandoval. Tries to throw out Lindsley as well, but the throw was offline. So back we go with Josh Cowden.
Now stepping in for the Saints.
This will be his sixth plate. This will be his sixth plate appearance on the night. And starts him off with a fastball at the knees for a called strike. So you really look at the whole entire SoCal division, 5.5 back for the Barons, 3.5 back for Orange County. Then you see the Foresters just a game and a half back, the Oaks a game back, then the Blues half a game back. So you want to talk about close? That's as close as it's going to get, especially the half game, 1 game, and game and a half by the Foresters. As Cowden skies one into the night skies, and it's 2 gone. So 2 put on the shelves, and it's Jake McMurray.
Number 2, Jake McMurray.
10-0. The Saints doing most of the damage early on in the game. A run in the first, 4 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 2 in the 7th. No runs, no production going offensively for the Conejo Oaks. something very surprising. The Oaks, another great offensive team, and they had their fair share of showcase game players as there's a bouncer. Naviak unable to handle that one. It's a very tough play there for Naviak. So it'll be a pair of base runners on. So Jake Murray able to get an infield single out of that. Keep the inning going. And most importantly, that's the fourth base hit of the night for Jake McMurray, also trying to keep up with Tanner Lindsley. As there's a pitch in the dirt. Drew Cowley also a hit away from getting a multi-hit game. That one's crushed, but goes foul. Fastball upstairs. Cowley leaves that one up 2-1. The Conejo Oaks will continue their road trip, and they will go to Orange County. They play against the Riptide over at Gray Park in Irvine, California. It's a very nice facility indeed. They'll be back at home on Saturday to play against the Ventura County Bucks. Step away from league play, but they'll be back on the road once again to play against the Riptide. There's the 3-1, trying to show off the velocity, and it ends up being a walk for Cowley.
Now stepping in for the Saints, number 11, Peyton Lewis.
So another bases loaded situation for the Saints. Here is Peyton Lewis. And boy, base runners have been coming in as he drives one over to right, but it's playable for TJ Foreman. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 3 runners left on base as we go to the top of the 9th inning. Final 3 outs for the Conejo Oaks as you're listening to Arroyo Seco Baseball on the Saints Radio Network. Conejo Oaks with their final 3 lives as we go to the top of the 9th inning. We'll have some more pinch hitters coming in for the Conejo Oaks. And there is a new arm on the mound as well, Eric Navarrete from Mid-America Nazarene University, making his Arroyo Seco Saints debut. His first pitch as a Saint missed the zone, but able to get back into the count, even up 1 ball and 1 strike. Navarrete had some great numbers in his freshman year with Mid-America Nazarene. ERA 3.63 from the pen, was second on the team with that stat. A whip of 1.30 was second on the team. 3-2 record on 20 appearances. Had 5 saves. Was the closer for Mid-America. With 34 2/3 innings of work, 25 hits, 15 runs, 14 of them earned, and that is the fewest in the pen and in the pitching staff. 20 walks. 4th fewest with 33 Ks, which is the 5th most on the team. So this is the first time that the Saints take a look at Eric Navarrete. 5'10" on the mound from Victorville. Here's a ground ball hit over to Boning. And a routine ground out, 6-3. Now, one storyline worth mentioning is how defensively sharp Brandon Boning has been throughout the whole entire game. He's had a lot of slow rollers hit his way and has been able to field them cleanly every time. And a note worth mentioning, no errors for the Saints. A very defensively sound team, fundamentally sound team. 1 gone, Robert Capozzi at the plate as he hits a high fly ball over to center field. 2 gone. So the final out is represented by Scott Radinsky, the outfielder from Santa Barbara Community College. Fastball, low and inside, 1-0. One and one. You can tell that Navarrete was really trying to show off the velocity here. And definitely possesses it so. And a fastball missing low. And just misses out on 3-0. And it's a 4-pitch walk given to the pinch hitter and a Scott Radinsky. So they pass the baton over to JT to JT Naviak. Naviak has been put away all 3 times that he has stepped up to the plate. 2 unassisted ground outs to first with a strikeout. Alvarez comes set. Long pause from the bump. The 1-0. Fires in there for a called strike. And that one is cracked over to right field. Going to keep this inning alive as Naviak refuses to go 0 for tonight and ends up finishing up his night 1 for 4. This is the first time that the Oaks have been able to get a pair of base runners on. And it goes all the way back to the top of the first. Start up the ball game with a pair of base runners, but Merrick Sears was able to get out of it, and quite frankly, that has been the only blemish for Merrick Sears. And if you go past that, Sears has just been flawless after the first and the second inning. Maintained control throughout the whole entire game. So 0-2 the count now to Greg Melhoff. Trying to finish him off, make him go 0 for 4. Last strike. The 0-2. And it's a drive over to center field. Tracking it down. Diving play there by Josh Cowden. Also known as Superman, making that lunging play. And you could put a W on the board there for the Arroyo Seco Saints. And being able to come up with a big win here. And to definitely help out in the standings in the SoCal division. Arroyo Seco Saints now 11-6 in conference play. They are now 15-9 overall, gaining some more leverage on San Luis Obispo. As we will definitely be seeing if we could get a final update on the ball game against San Luis Obispo. As it looks like the game is at the bottom of the 9th inning. Santa Barbara with an 11-4 lead against the Blues. So with this game, with this victory at the moment, this will bring the Saints with a 1-game lead. Then with the loss of the San Luis Obispo Blues, if they lose this one tonight, that'll give them some leverage, a game and a half. So when the Saints go into the game tomorrow, definitely going to help them out a little bit more as far as trying to get some ground on the standings and trying to leave some space in between the Saints and the San Luis Obispo Blues. As we quickly give you the final numbers for both of the starting pitchers, Merrick Sears with the win went 4 innings of work, 3 Ks, no walks, 3 base hits, and no earned runs on there. As Chris Torres, the losing pitcher, went 2 1/3 innings of work, 1 K, 2 base on balls, 8 hits, and 7 earned runs on their losing pitcher, Chris Torres. It was an offensive-heavy day for the Saints, being able to score 1 in the first, score 4 in the third, able to score 6 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 2 in the seventh to give them 10 runs. And what a day it was for Jake McMurray, able to finish up his day with 4 singles with an RBI and a run scored. Also, Drew Cowley finished up his day with 2 singles and a double. Does have an RBI as well with a run scored, 2 runs scored, and also getting on with a walk in his final at bat. And also a tip of the cap to Tanner Lindsley, who finished up his day with 4 base hits on the day. First time that Lindsley has a more than a 2-hit day at the plate. His previous day at the plate, he had 2 singles. And now able to add 4 more here in his resume against the Conejo Oaks. And Lindsley definitely trying to earn himself this starting catcher's role, as Peyton Lewis has definitely heated up as a catcher as well, but now using Peyton Lewis as an outfielder as well. It's been a nice piece for Coach Milam to be able to use Peyton Lewis as an outfielder as well. He did have an outfield assist early on in the ball game to put Caden Suji away 9-5. Suji was trying to go from first to third, and Lewis wasn't going to have that. And of course, having that catcher's arm and just trying to fire the baseball as quick as possible, and having that arm strength, was able to throw a dart over to Cowley over at third, and just a great outfield assist. And that's always something that the Saints always shine with as far as the defense is concerned. You won't see too many errors as far as the Saints are concerned, and they play some very good quality baseball. And with that, Brandon Boning just having a ton of baseballs hit his way, a couple of 6-3 putouts by the shortstop, and showing some great leather, some slow rollers hit his way, and throwing some strikes over to first. It was money and easy for Jake McMurray here in this ball game. So what's coming up next for the Saints? Well, they'll be back on the road tomorrow. They'll be playing against the San Luis Obispo Blues. That's a game that you definitely need to mark on your calendar, and that is a game that you definitely need to tune into. We will definitely have the coverage here on the Arroyo Seco Saints radio network. We'll definitely have that for you guys. It'll be myself and Tommy Warts that will be with you guys tomorrow to broadcast that game, and the next 2 will be very important for the Arroyo Seco Saints. These will be must-win games for the Saints. Well, that just about wraps it up here in Jackie Robinson Field. I am Alex Naveca. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. Your Arroyo Seco Saints winning it 10-0 against the Conejo Oaks, and now going 3-2 against the Conejo Oaks here this year. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow from San Luis Obispo.